Well, an exciting opportunity to talk with Colorado Avalanche assistant GM Craig Billington. And first off, Biller, how's everything going for you? This has been a busy few weeks for you guys, really a busy few months. You had the bubble environment, and now all of a sudden you get the draft behind you. Free agency is up and running. I would imagine not too many spare minutes out there for you right now.
Well, no, it's been certainly different, like for all of us. And, the National Hockey League did such a tremendous job with the bubble and the playoffs and how they managed that. It was incredible. And we got a real good look, obviously, at the Avs and disappointing to lose in that game 7, but at the same time, some really positive things came out of it. And certainly the importance of depth played into that.
Well, and that depth, a lot of it bred with the Colorado Eagles and those players that stepped up and certainly made a name for themselves. So what did you see, and how much of that is just it's nice to see that come to fruition in a time when you really need those guys to do that and step up?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's really what we're all about. Joe emphasizes, development in a winning environment and ultimately to contribute to a Stanley Cup championship. That's what we do. And so we got to see guys. We got to see guys we had before in Francouz and Graves, or even prior to that, some of the players that have touched us. But then also, OC jumps in and gets a look. And then, Connor Timmins is there. So it all plays into it. And certainly on the heels of us having, with the Eagles, a very good season, an exciting season there before the stoppage.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because, again, it was so abrupt and very unfortunate, kind of a double whammy because the Eagles were playing some of their best hockey of the year at the point when that season stopped. What were your thoughts on last year?
Well, like you, we were really excited about the team and how it came together. And, the coaching staff did a tremendous job in the timing of playing some of our best hockey at the most important time of the year. And of course, the Pacific Division being the race that it is, I think a lot of us were so just excited to get into that playoff and see how that played out. And just as a pure hockey, passion and enjoyment of the playoff, and not to mention our players having that exposure for development. So it's disappointing, but disappointing for all of us in different looks what we're dealing with COVID. So moving forward, like you said, we come out of the bubble environment and then move into the draft, and Alan Heppel, his staff, Joe, Chris, work hard to acquire some other good additions there, and then build into free agency. And you saw what, Joe, again, is clearly targeted and working towards building that championship team. And coming out of the bubble, I know that he saw some things and he's made changes too to improve that team. And at the same token, increases the depth. And you see what happened in the American League. Chris McFarland with his staff do a tremendous job identifying players. And you see the players that we've added based on Joe's direction of what the organization should be doing in terms of prospects that have upside to them, prospects for depth, and then ultimately filling it in that it fits our economic structure, but it also ultimately fits the goal of winning a championship.
Well, and I know Eagles fans loved hearing Joe Sakic say, we want to create a winning environment at the AHL level with the Colorado Eagles for our players who are developing there. We want them to be around success. You guys went out and certainly put in a lot of pieces that are going to help in that process. What was sort of the game plan in crafting what will be this upcoming season's Colorado Eagles team? And what do you like about the pieces that you put in to make that a reality?
Well, I think it first comes with having a good assessment of what you had in the areas and looking at it. And obviously, Joe, Chris, and I spend a lot of time, but from the National League standpoint and then from the American League standpoint, and utilizing the coaches and the feedback they have, utilizing the development staff who work with the players to give feedback and look at, okay, based on that, what are our targets and what do they look like? And then build into, Chris with his staff to say, who are those players that fit with what we feel we'd like to add to? And that process, I always bring back the process to it and the communication, and that's what drives to get the players that we do acquire. And I think the other thing we're certainly feeling is the Eagles have a long history, as you know, with the back in the day with the CHL to the ECHL, and now at the AHL level. So you're seeing when we're talking to free agents, they know what's going on in Loveland. They understand what goes on in that Bud Center, and they're excited and want to be part of that. So I think the recruitment process that's really helped us as well. they see that full building, they see it rock, and they see what a wonderful place to live. They see that region being always rated as a great place to live. So it attracts. And let's face it, we're 55 miles up the road from where they want to be, which is down at playing at the Pepsi Center for the Avs. So it's all come together, and it's come together with the communication of all the different departments working really well and focus on that process.
Well, again, you mentioned the fact that you're starting to see those free agents come in. I had a chance to talk to Keith Middleton. He said, well, I was always blown away coming into that building with what it was like. I can't wait to be on the home team. You had a guy like Kiefer Sherwood. But, one thing that you've always mentioned, and this was sort of in the onset of the shift to the American Hockey League, was it'll be great to make an easy drive, whether it was yourself, Chris McFarland, Joe Sakic, to come up and keep an eye on these guys. How much did that help when you realized exactly what you had, exactly what these guys were capable of when you put them into the Stanley Cup playoffs and you expected them to do some big things for you?
Yeah, and I think it's great because it allows like firsthand experience. Chris and I we do talk to Joe about concepts or what we see or feeling, and then for him to be able to see obviously the Avalanche product, but also see what's going on with the Eagles. Say, come watch and see. Give us your feedback. What do you think, Joe? How do you see this guy fitting? Are there things that you could suggest? Or, Chris, from an identification, what's he see? And so I think, just that ability to, be an hour up the road and have that dialogue along with the coaching staff who deal with them every single day.
Last question for you. In your mind and in what you would like to see, what's the next step for this Eagles team, this organization moving forward, as now you hope to get the season kicking here in the next couple of months, but whatever it looks like, whatever the schedule looks like, what's that next step in the process that you want to see for the Eagles?
Yeah, I really like what we've got coming out of free agency, and I really like what the development staff, the American Hockey League coaching staff, training staff, fitness staff, what we're doing with our players right now. And it's easy, during the COVID, you've got to adjust, you've got to adapt, you've got to find different ways to get that culture in them, to teach them the on-ice elements that we feel are very critical for the advancement to the National League. So we've been able to, in this 7 months, really brainstorm as a group, a collective group, to come up with ideas, strategies, and design that really innovative. That's allowed us to. So it's pretty neat that, we have those touch points, and the touch points aren't just a phone call. It's actually, we're teaching and getting them what I call a head start that will enable us to be very prepared when the season starts. And that's the key. It's kind of like, don't wait for the season to start. Let's prepare now so that when it does, we're rolling. And that's exciting. And quite frankly, the success, I do think, like Joe stresses, to have that winning culture, both with the Eagles and the Avalanche, play well in terms of the overall picture. And so a Calder Cup and a Stanley Cup in the same year would be I think, a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah, I think that would be something everybody would certainly love to see. Well, Bill, I appreciate the time very much and enjoy the rest of the off season, and hopefully not too much more of that off season to come, and get things rolling back at the Budweiser Event Center.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks for reaching out, and stay safe and all the best.
All right, great to catch up with the Avalanche assistant GM, Craig Billington.